There have been cases whereby couples were actually, had a rather open kind of definition with regards to their marriage, what we sometimes hear as swinging parties, right? In one of these swinging parties, the spouse, in that sense, made certain comments about another member of the opposite sex's physical anatomy and compared it to the other spouse as well. I assist people who are seeking to exit from an unhappy marriage, amongst other things. Ask me anything. I'm Ivan Cheong, I'm 39 this year, and I'm a family and divorce lawyer. The main cause of divorce in Singapore is quite varied, but generally there's an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage, that the other party has behaved so unreasonably such that you can no longer be expected to remain married. I've encountered examples whereby one of the particulars of unreasonable behavior was that the wife said that the husband kept on leaving the toilet seat up in that sense, right, and would not put it down, even though after she reminded him multiple times. Another reason, which is also quite common, right, they feel that the spouse no longer understands them or no longer appreciates them. They found out that their spouse has not been faithful to them, has been cheating with another third party, whether a member of the opposite sex or sometimes members of the same sex. Leaving aside the more salacious ones, but there have been cases whereby perhaps couples were actually, had a rather open kind of definition with regards to their marriage, which means they were in open relationships, notwithstanding that they were in a marriage, what we sometimes hear as swinging parties, right? And one of the reasons which was given is that during one of these swinging parties, the spouse, in that sense, made certain comments about another member of the opposite sex's physical anatomy and compared it unfavorably to the other spouse as well, which the other spouse, in that sense, felt very aggrieved. Just because your spouse is guilty of, of having an affair, of not being faithful to you, does not mean that he or she cannot be entitled, in that sense, to a fair share of the matrimonial assets. In Singapore, in that sense, there's no presumption that upon a divorce, the matrimonial assets are automatically going to be split 50-50. The courts have very wide power and discretion in terms of how to divide the matrimonial assets, and it's dependent in that. In a nutshell, just because a spouse has been a bad spouse during the marriage, he or she is guilty of cheating, does not necessarily mean that that's going to affect his or her entitlement in terms of what's going to be a fair share of the division of the assets. Of course, if the spouse's behavior is such that he or she has been neglecting, in that sense, the spouse or the children of the marriage, and that impacts various factors, say like his ability to contribute to the marriage, these are some of the factors which a court can take into consideration. Some of the reasons for regret really is they feel that they did not communicate sufficiently with their spouse, and especially when problems arose in the marriage or the relationship, they preferred to sweep things under the rug until things actually became very bad and it kind of reached a point of no return. The most common one, and that's something which I even get sometimes from my friends and all that, of course they actually joke about it, is that they will say that divorce lawyers are responsible in that sense for breaking up happy families, encouraging divorces, and profiting off it, right? What I can say is that while we wish that everything is perfect, in a perfect world, of course, in an ideal world, everyone who gets married would stay happily married because there are no issues with regard to the relationships. But the reality, as we all know it in that sense, are that relationships do fail, relationships do break down. Practicing family law, you are dealing with very emotional, in that sense, clients, and understandably so, because it's a breakdown of the very important relationship of their life, right? Does not mean that family lawyers get disillusioned or think that marriage is no longer an institution which should be celebrated. Actually, I think the reverse is true, right? So there are a lot of family and divorce lawyers who are happily married, in that sense, are children of their own. As a family and divorce lawyer myself, what I appreciate is the fact that you recognize that relationships can change. When things do go wrong and things can go wrong, it's important not to take your other half in that sense for granted.